News surrounding Israel and Iran has remained prominent following the U.S.'s involvement. The consulate of Israel gives their perspective on the future of the tensions. Plus, Arizona is finally getting a professional women's soccer team. See how they are looking to fill a gap in women's soccer. And in honor of the 4th of July, we're taking you inside an American flag factory located right here in Arizona. It's all that and more this evening on Broomhead. Welcome. I'm Mike Broomhead. Before we jump into today's interviews, let's take a look at some of the top stories.
A big day at the Supreme Court for the Trump administration. I'm Mike Vaquera, News Nation Washington Bureau Chief. In the final day of its term, the Supreme Court handing down rulings on some very high-profile cases, including a decision that makes it easier for the president to enact his agenda. Among those key rulings, limiting nationwide injunctions issued by lower court judges. Recently, those injunctions have blocked new rules and regulations issued by President Trump and his administration, stopping the government from carrying out the president's policies. In a 6-3 ruling, the court ruled that individual judges lacked the authority to grant them. Justice Barrett delivering the majority opinion, writing, "These injunctions, known as universal injunctions, likely exceed the equitable authority that Congress has granted to federal courts." Justice Sotomayor criticized the ruling, writing in her dissent, "The court disregards basic principles of equity, as well as the long history of injunctive relief granted to non-parties." I'm Mike Vaquera, and this is the News Nation Political Minute.
We have to take a look at the Middle East and the conflict between Israel and Iran. It got as heated as it possibly could, and then the U.S. got involved. We know that the Israelis have been taking out their air capabilities, their missile capabilities, their scientists that were working on nuclear and uranium enrichment. And then the U.S. got involved, and we dropped our bunker buster bombs on different military sites, different enrichment sites. And according to the U.S., they are saying it's been completely dismantled. Others are not sure. They are waiting for the results to come in. Either way, a ceasefire was agreed to by both Iran and by Israel. Both of them seem to not be ready to listen or to not keep up that agreement because they both began to lob missiles at each other. And the president was so upset, he actually cursed, dropped the big F-bomb on them. But as it stands right now, this is ready to at least cool off for a while. And that's what a ceasefire is supposed to do, work toward a peace agreement. Coming up, the conflict between Israel and Iran have captured the world's attention. When we come back, the consulate of Israel in Los Angeles shares how tensions are affecting Israeli citizens in the United States and abroad. It's important to recognize and thank the fine Arizona men and women who are serving in our country's military. One of the ways we like to do that is through a segment called From Arizona for America, brought to you by my good friends at Sanderson Ford. Join me in honoring Operations Specialist Second Class Jordan Morrison, a native of Phoenix, Arizona. He's assigned to the Operations Department Maintenance Division aboard the Nimitz-class aircraft carrier USS George Washington in the Indo-Pacific region. For a list of more of our friends and neighbors that are from Arizona for America, go to the Broomhead tab at cw7az.com. The eyes of the world are still glued to the Middle East, and to talk about the update on the conflict is Yulia Rachinsky. She's the Deputy Consul General of the Consulate General of Israel in Los Angeles. Thank you for doing this with us.
My pleasure to be here.
I'd like to start with the ceasefire and what you've heard from the people of Israel. Are you hopeful that the ceasefire is going to maintain, and do you believe it's going to stay in place?
Well, for us, I think the ceasefire is a good thing for everybody. And most and foremost, it's a good thing for the stability in the region. So Israel started the operation in Iran with several proclaimed goals. And I think we were very clear on that. First is, of course, to eliminate the Iranian nuclear program. And the second one is to eliminate the Iranian ballistic missiles arsenal. And we were clear on that once we achieve our targets and our goals, we will finish the operation. We don't have any more interest in fighting for the sake of fighting.
I know that the Prime Minister had spoken directly to the Iranian people about wanting freedom, and that the conflict is not with the Iranian people, but with the regime that is trying to destroy Israel. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, definitely. We said from the very beginning that our conflict is not with the Persian people, not with the Iranian people. You know, prior to the Islamic Revolution in 1979, we had a diplomatic presence in Tehran. We had great connections. Tourists from Israel were visiting Iran and vice versa. So, definitely, we didn't have anything to fight about with the Iranian people. As you probably know, we have a large Persian Jewish community in Israel, and they have a Jewish community in Iran as well. So we are also taking care of the interests of those communities. And as I said, we had very clear goals for this operation, which did not include Iranian people or any change of the regime.
What are the spirits and the condition of the Israeli people after the conflict and some of those bombs making contact in some of your cities? How are the Israeli people?
Well, it was difficult for us. You know, Iran actually launched 550 missiles to Israel and 1,000 drones, and you can add it to previous rounds of attack in April and in October, and you get a very high number of missiles launched at civilian targets. And unfortunately, 28 people were killed during these attacks, and 1,470 were injured. Among them, we have severely injured people. Moreover, 15,000 houses were destroyed. So you can imagine that now our country will need to face with evacuation of all the people, and we need to find places to put them in the meantime. So I think it's a very big damage to our population that we will have to face with the consequences now.
The relationship with Israel and other Arab nations in the region seems to be potentially very, very good, if not already very, very good. Is a ceasefire with Iran and a peace agreement possibly down the road, is that the key to peace in the entire region?
Well, I think, again, the stabilization of the region is one of the major interests of everybody, including Israel, our Arab moderate states. And we are very hopeful that once the Iranian issue will be solved, and we hope that this operation maybe put us a little bit closer to solving this problem of Iranian threat to the whole region, we will be able to proceed with the Abraham Accords and probably add additional countries to the Abraham Accords. I think it will serve the interests of everybody.
I also want to be mindful of Gaza and what happened, and that there are still hostages that are being kept by Hamas. Can you give us an update? Is there any negotiation for finally the release of all the hostages?
Well, we have never stopped fighting in Gaza, and even though we had our focus on Iran during the last 12 days, but probably you saw that our IDF, they were able to bring back home three bodies of hostages who were killed on October 7th. And we had only yesterday, we had a very tragic event where we lost 7 of our soldiers also in Gaza. So we have our full forces there. We still have 50 hostages held by Hamas in Gaza. The negotiations are still ongoing. It's now it's up to the leadership of Hamas, because we insist on releasing our hostages, and I think the U.S. administration is with us on that, supports us on that. So we are very hopeful that maybe seeing what is happening in Iran and in other countries in the region will also bring to the end our war in Gaza and bring our people back home.
Yulia, thank you so much for your time. My prayers and our prayers are with the people of Israel, and we thank you for the update.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
We'll be back. Coming up, are you cool? See what it means to be cool and how it impacts cultures across the world, according to a new study from the University of Arizona. Too Cool for School. It is a study about what is actually cool and how it impacts cultures across the world. Joining us is Caleb Warren. He teaches consumer behavior, digital marketing, and writing at the Eller College. Caleb, thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about this study. First of all, why is this important? Give us the details of what you found and why it's so important for us to know.
Okay, so I started studying what makes things and what makes people cool because it seemed I was a marketing PhD student, and it seemed like everywhere I looked, people were buying things, or they were spending their money, or they were spending their time because they wanted to be cool, or because they thought something was cool. But this wasn't something that was being studied. And whenever I'd ask somebody, well, what does cool mean? I'd get these nonsensical answers like, well, cool is whatever you do to stand out that makes you different. It's also doing the same thing as everybody else. And so I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So I started to try to study this using the methods I learned from my training as a consumer psychologist. And in the paper that I sent you, or you saw, we were looking at what the differences are between people who are cool and people who are not cool, using an experiment where we had people either think about a cool person or a not cool person, or someone who was good or someone who was not good. And then we asked about what are these people like? And we measured them on a variety of traits and attributes. And this way we could see, how are cool people different from not cool people? And is it just the same as being good? Or is there something specific about being cool? And then we looked at change across countries.
So what is give me an attribute that is kind of consistent across cultures of what you are hearing as a cool person?
Being extroverted.
Okay.
So being outgoing and a people person. We found in every culture we looked at, people who are extroverted are more cool, or people who are cool are more extroverted than people who are not cool. But if you look at people who are just good versus not good, people who are good are no more extroverted. They're actually, on average, more introverted than people who are not good. So being extroverted is a trait that is specifically cool rather than just being generally favorable. And that's true everywhere we've studied, from Korea and India to South Africa and Germany and United States.
Does it cross demographics? So I'm 58 years old. Is my consideration of what's cool going to be different in principle, let's say, to someone that's 28 or 18?
So certainly there's going to be different specific products, music, TV shows that older and younger people consider cool. But what we found in our data is, if you look at the traits in people, we see the same types of people as being cool, regardless of whether we're 20 or 70. People who are cool tend to be extroverted, hedonistic, powerful, adventurous, open, and autonomous.
So then how does this apply? How do you apply this, or how do you think people apply this in their lives? Not just marketing, but how does it apply to someone that's reading the data? What do they do with the data?
It's a good question. So I think there's a different question if you are an individual who cares about being cool themselves than if you are a marketer trying to figure out, well, how do I get my product to be cool? The marketing question is a little bit easier to answer. And with that is, if you're looking for spokespeople or brand representatives, or maybe salespeople, or someone to represent your brand, to make your brand cool, then these are the types of people you should look for. Those who are extroverted, who are maybe live a little bit more in the moment, who are adventurous, rather than people who are just sort of agreeable or warm or conscientious, which are other positive traits that aren't cool. Now, if you're an individual trying to be cool, I don't know. I'd say you need to be really careful, because you can't come across as trying to be cool. That's a different research paper. But I think you don't need a research paper to know that people who try too hard to be cool are not cool. But what this can mean is, if you're trying to be cool yourself, rather than trying to be cool, reach out to people, be friendly, be talkative, but also be adventurous, take some risks, and be open to new ideas, new possibilities, that sort of thing.
This has been a lot of fun. I appreciate the information. It is really an interesting study, and I appreciate you sharing it with us.
Oh, thank you so much.
Arizona's welcoming a new women's sports team. The Peoria-based Desert Dreams FC played their first ever game back in May of this year. While it may seem surprising, they are the only independent women's Premier Soccer League team in Arizona. In fact, Phoenix is the largest city in the U.S. that doesn't have a professional soccer team for women. And that is where the Desert Dreams are looking to fill the gap.
So Desert Dreams FC, they play in the Women's Premier Soccer League. It's been around for a very long time. I think there's over 200 teams nationally. And it's basically a platform for the college players to go back in their off season during summer to kind of stay in form and keep working and staying in shape and just getting ready to get back into their college seasons. So the reason I would encourage the community to come out and watch is it's an opportunity to watch college players that play at different universities throughout the country. So they're right here in your own backyard now. A great opportunity for the young youth players to come out and support the women's team.
It's been super cool to be a part of the beginning of it all. It's super cool to meet players and to get to play with new people.
What it means to coach the inaugural season is actually pretty important to me. It's a great opportunity to do something that's new. I mean, I've been coaching for a long time and coaching in college for a long time, coaching in the youth club. It's the first time I've been the head coach for a WPSL team. So it's actually exciting to get to coach different athletes who play at different colleges. You know, we have Division I players from everywhere. We have Division II players. We have NAIA players. So we play at Peoria Sports Complex, main stadium. It's actually very unique. All the other teams play, you know, at different parks throughout the valley and in other states, but I believe we're the only one in Arizona that actually plays at a stadium like this. So we have our own social media as well, Desert Dreams FC.
Desert Dreams FC has their last match of the season this Friday, July 4th, against the Phoenix Heat FC at 5 p.m. at Peoria Sports Complex. Coming up, see how one piece of American history is being woven in our own backyard. That's next. Here's a look at some upcoming events that should be on your radar. First up, it's the Tempe 4th of July celebration. For more than 50 years, the event has been held at Tempe Beach Park. However, this year, the event will be at Tempe Diablo Stadium from 5 to 10 p.m. Admission is $10 online and $15 the day of the event. Children under 12 are free. Then it's the fabulous Phoenix 4th Fireworks Show, Phoenix's largest fireworks event, happening from 6 to 10 p.m. at Steel Indian School Park. The city recommends considering the light rail for transportation. Remember to bring water and stay hydrated.
American Flag and Pole Company manufactures and erects large commercial flags and flagpoles. Mostly United States flags. We do state flags. We do about 9 or 10 different state flags. We make custom flags. What got me started in the flagpole business? We started just painting, restringing, repairing flags, flagpoles. Then we started building flagpoles, and then we were buying flags from other companies. We figured out from step by step, and we started manufacturing, and it just evolved 40 years later. So our size flags range from 2 by 3 foot to 40 by 80 foot flags, which are very big. Everybody's got a different job out there. Some put the stars on, some sew the stripes together, some do the hemming, some do the cutting. Everybody works together. The flag can be cleaned and repaired. We do a lot of that. There's nothing wrong with taking the flag down, hemming the ends, and running it through a gentle cycle in the washing machine. The flag needs to be lit if you decide not to take it down at nighttime. You have to have a light on it. And really, if the flag is ripping, you need to change it out, repair it, or put a new flag up. The proper way to fold the flag, the military process, is the triangle. Well, it's a triangle hat. Basically what it represents is the hat that George Washington and those guys used to wear in the olden days. That's how they get that little triangle. That's where they came up with it. The government has specific days that they have to fly the flags. The government, whenever they order a half staff, that's for government, that is not for civilians. The civilians can honor it, but that's not for them. There's no law requiring that. To learn any fun facts, history, or flag etiquette, you can find it all on our website at amflagaz.com.
Thank you to all the guests who joined us on today's show. If you miss any of the interviews or would like to re-watch them, head over to cw7az.com/Broomhead. Every Sunday here on Broomhead, we ask a new poll question we'd like you to participate in. This week's question is, are you concerned about the conflict between Israel and Iran? All you have to do is head over to cw7az.com/Broomhead to respond to the poll question. Thank you for joining us this week on Broomhead.